up, everyone? Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy Thursday. Alas, the NBA Finals Game 1 is here. We broke it down a lot on Monday with some early value. Some of those lines have moved, but what we want to do today is answer a ton of your questions. Also, MLB questions as well. We have Jake to answer those. Let's just break down. Let's just, a little free flowing conversation here with the team. Okay. We're going to look at some promotions we're seeing on our own good old Hard Rock here. We're looking at a little promotion for a 2-leg same game parlay. So I think everyone should be cooking up some of that on their own. Jake, any thoughts so far for the finals tonight?
What's a 2+? So, I mean, you could do 2 legs. I might do like 3 or 4 legs.
Okay.
I also have the $100 back, and you only get the $10 back. So, I might be a little risky tonight.
When I was out there, I swear, I was like, holy shit, $100 back. And then I came back into this room and it said 10. And I don't know what was going on. But I'm still going to be looking to cook something up. I'm still looking for a really fun bet. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Derek White first basket every game.
I'm going to try fading my. So I looked at the
fading Derek White?
No. Remember, this year has been a wonderful year in betting, or at least 4 months. But except for the exception of my 3-point and assist bets.
Yes.
So I've identified 3 bets, and I'm considering fading those to see if that's a good strategy.
I put those out there. So we've been very transparent. Let me pull up Steven's screen here. We have been very transparent with you guys with our betting record, the ebbs, the flows, overall a good line here we're looking at. However, the 3-point props and the assist props have been objectively terrible. And we usually feel really confident about them.
Well, what made it bad?
I wouldn't say terrible. I wouldn't go that bad. Well,
I adjusted for this a month and a half ago. So at the time, they were accounting for around 35% of my bets were my 2 worst bets. Yes. So that's what was painful about it. So it was like I was just. So I decided to go again the opposite way. So the bets that we may fade, I'll do this Hard Rock parlay and see what they offer me. I think they offer me like $10 too.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk through those first. Let's talk about there's 3 plays that historically we would like, and the model actually likes here. However, we know that the record for these specific type of props isn't great. So Jay and Hardy, we would like to go over half a made 3, but if we're going to fade ourselves and fade the model here, maybe we're going for under.
Yeah. So the reason why the model has it at 0.7, he's got 58% over this season. He's 6 for 10 in the Minnesota series, so everything's looking good there. Guards who make similar amount of threes, they are 25 and 17 over at Boston versus 17-20 at home versus Boston. So ordinarily, I'd be like, all right, Jaden Hardy over half a made. But the under is appealing because his average and over percentage is worse on the road. He has no threes in 2 games versus Boston this season. And Boston hold visitors to 35% on threes. And Kleber's back, even though Kleber's listed as a power forward center, they're essentially 3-point shooters. So with Kleber back, I'm worried about his minutes. So thinking Hardy fading him might not be a bad spot here.
Looks like Sed likes Hardy to hit a 3. So does the model. But we just don't know.
Look, I want it both ways because if he misses, I want it both ways. These are not official picks. This is my silly parlay that I'm going to try to take advantage of.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we'll talk about Kleber here. He is someone we do have value on to have a 3-pointer here. If you look at the prices, but again, 3-point props, not our best work here this NBA season. So do we fade the model again?
Yeah. So the pros for playing the over is he's got a nice solid 56% on the road. He's got a higher average on the road, 1.0 average versus 0.7 at home. He missed more than 3 weeks with his injury, but he's still 6-1 over heading into this game and 10-3 heading back to early April. Other forwards who he averages on 0.8 threes a game. Other forwards who average between 0.6 and 1, average 1.1 with a 20-15 over at Boston versus 11 and 16 over at home versus Boston. So interesting there, which is again why we like Boston to win because they're actually having more success on the road than you would think.
Yeah.
So the reason to fade and play the under here is he only played 22 total minutes of his 2 games returning. And he may be a kind of an injured Kleber does not sound like someone who can defend Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown well.
No.
I mean, even a healthy Kleber probably couldn't.
Yeah.
So 22 minutes versus Minnesota, I'm wondering if he just doesn't have the speed to stay with those guys and athleticism to stay with them, and that maybe he'll be defensive liability, limiting his minutes. And then again, Jaden Hardy, who the other player here has been shooting well, so maybe they use him as the fourth or third 3-point shooter on the team.
I can't help. Jake, is PJ Washington really only 2.5 first
2.5.
quarter?
Yeah, but it's 2.5 to minus 120 first quarter points.
You gonna put that in your same game parlay?
I was looking at that. If both Derek White and PJ Washington are at 2.5, Derek White's minus 165. So if you're gonna go with your Derek White first basket, you might as well throw in Derek White over 2.5.
Wait,
first quarter points.
Okay. Say less. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Derek White first basket plus Derek White over 2.5 points in the first quarter. It's going to be a Derek White 3. Start the game.
How could it be only 2.5 at a reasonable juice?
It's minus 165.
Okay.
For Derek White. Minus 120 for PJ Washington.
Right.
Dude,
because I know his points line is like 13.5, so you would think it'd be like 3.5 if it was a minus 120, but it's just minus 1.
Wait, guys, now the promotion's completely gone. I don't know what's happening.
It's our office, I think.
I'm off the Wi-Fi. I'm gonna have to figure that one out later, but you can mark my words, people, that will be my same game parlay for tonight. All right, let's move on to one more play we are thinking about here. Again, we like Daniel Gafford to go over an assist when you look at the model numbers. However, not loving our record on our assist prop, so dare we fade Daniel Gafford.
And this is an interesting one. I was very proud of myself when I discovered this because the model has value on Gafford and Lively in general, but I was worried about what their roles would be against Boston as opposed to the bigger Minnesota front court. But Gafford, for the season, he averages over assists. It's 70% over, 72% over on the road. So you would think that's a lock, but I noticed that he only has he has 0 assists his last 3 games versus Boston, because one when he was with Dallas, he played 6 minutes. And then his last 2 when he was with Washington, he played 6 and 10 minutes. So that's a couple coaching staff saying he's not a good matchup against Boston.
Yeah.
So that's and then if Lively is more mobile maybe and playing well, that they rely on him more at that center spot. So I'm worried that Gafford may not get the minutes that he was getting heading into the series.
I know Lively and Gafford are 2 guys I feel like we've talked about. We kind of want to see how game 1 goes before we look into that. Drew Martin asking a nice deep question here, talking about Luka getting blitzed on the pick and roll by the Celtics defense, potentially passing to people like Lively or Gafford, maybe opening up assist opportunities. I've seen people on all sides of Luka's assists. I feel like I'd lean over. What does the model have?
Let me show off my new screen again. This is not going to play well among the sub 35-year-old people, but people who are like stats and numbers like me. And plus I worked hard on this yesterday because this is all automated. I'm not typing on this. I'm just writing a code that spits it out and I can quickly slap it into a sheet. And for baseball, I can do it for all the games at once. So it basically allows me to quick copy and paste. So what was the question? Doncic. What it's showing here is we don't have any value on his PRA. We actually have slight model value under 31.5 points, under 9.5 rebounds, and over 8.5 assists. So, but not great ones. So you see these little tiny asterisks. Those are the ones where we actually
no one can see this, Steven.
Oh, come on.
Let alone an asterisk.
See the asterisks that are very important in this case. You can see that's where we have value. People may poo-poo this, but trust me, this is gonna be all the rage internally. Yeah, it's gonna change the world.
Interesting. The past 5 games, if you look at NBA.com, you look at assist opportunities. Lively's averaging 3.8 assist opportunities over the last 5 games, whereas let me find it. Where Gafford is averaging 0.6. So it's 3.8.
Lively's gone over this the last 5 games.
He's gone over the last 5 games. Yeah, I was looking at that to see if it was a fluke, if he's only averaging like 2.5 and they're hitting every single shot. But he's averaging 3.8 assist opportunities per game. He's at plus money. He's hitting 5 straight. He's getting the ball. He's looking to kick out. He's not looking to score first, whereas Gafford's more just looking to try to score.
I will say We have historical success of centers over 1.5 assists at plus money. That I will say. That was a big part of my.
And Gafford. I mean, also that goes the Gafford under assists because he's averaging 0.6 assist opportunities, not just assist opportunities over the last 5 games. So he's really not passing the ball.
Something happened, switched between the OKC series and the Minnesota series. That was the question. He had 8 assists in 6 games against OKC, and then only 2 in the Minnesota series. I wasn't locked in enough on Daniel Gafford's passing, but do we know why that would be?
I don't know.
I say we just don't overthink it and we take Lively over 1.5 assists. Loving that play. The collab from Drew and Jake here. Good stuff happening in the chat. Let's head over to FanDuel here. Let's play around over here. I'm looking at some first basket props. Jake, if I can share your screen. Take me to the first basket because I'm pretty sure Derek White is 10-1. And when I was thinking of who I want to bet on first basket every game this series, at first I was thinking logical, someone like Jaylen Brown, potentially Luka, obviously in the mix. But then I thought about what my raw on-camera reaction would be to freaking Kyrie Irving having the first basket. And it wouldn't be entertaining. But if Derek White pulls up for a 3 for the first basket of the game, 10-1, that is far better content for myself and this company and the engagement on social media. So that is what we will be going with because that would be way cooler than Jason Tatum 2-pointer first basket. So
they should have that.
It's crazy.
I say you risk half your salary on Derek White first basket. I think that's
got to be some kind of play here where you have some kind of arbitrage situation. Not really, not technically, not a guaranteed profit, but somewhere we could play that 2.5 point line on his first quarter scoring with the first bucket. Some way. There's got to be some way that we could figure out how to extract value out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, player first field goals made. If you look on OddsJam, it says player. Oh, it's field goals made. First basket. First.
Is there somewhere you can bet 3-point attempts?
So it looks like Derek White on FanDuel at plus 1,000 is the same as DraftKings, but that's the best value you're getting.
Okay, yeah. I asked on Twitter. No one did an awesome job of convincing me off Derek White first basket as my play of the series. So I think
I'll parlay Derek White.
Player 3's attempted, you would take
over 2.5 first quarter and first basket.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
What are we thinking? Tatum over 7.5 3 points attempted.
That's a lot.
I mean, not for game 1 of the finals at home.
What's the line?
7.5.
No, it's the juice.
Oh, looks like it's usually a prize picks play, but they have the field goals attempted, so it equates to minus 137.
And we have 8 projected.
I was looking at the comments from my Twitter of ideas from people. Someone said, "What about Derek White 6+ made threes at plus 900? I bet 365." I don't know if I'm ready for that type of sauce yet, but I like that. Someone else said a good one would be bet the game to be tied at half every game. But we love Boston too much to do that, I feel like.
Derek White to make the most threes in the game is plus 550.
I could get behind that.
You just think all your eggs in that
basket. Just throw everything on Derek White. Just
the basket. There are other players in the world than Derek White.
They don't matter to me. They just don't. They don't matter to me.
We had a question about someone who's betting Dallas in 6.
Oh, again,
we talked when we talked on Monday. The model does value Boston, even at minus 225. I think it's down to minus 215 on most spots. But we're not. I think that Boston only wins if they win 3 blowouts or double-digit wins, and they only have to have the pressure to win 1 out of 4 close games. If you were to tell me right now that all 7 games would be, or 5 games would be close, I'd actually pick Dallas because of the Luka Kyrie clutch factor.
We were saying that if you were to take Dallas and you like Dallas, the better value is to take them in 7. I think it's around plus 800 because they play so well on the road. And if they were to go back to Boston, we honestly might even have them favored to win the
just like what happened to Boston last year when they came back from down 0-3 against Miami. They went to game 7, they got clobbered, right?
Yeah.
So I think that our model. So Dallas for the year has a better win-loss record and include all games on the road than they do at home. And since they got Gafford to go with Lively, they've been doing a great job on the boards. And, basically all their key metrics down the stretch have been better on the road than at home. And then in the playoffs, you could see how they've done. They lost the one game to Minnesota at home, not on the road. So there's a lot of feeling here in our team that Dallas is the better play is Boston, but the more fun play would be Dallas in 7.
Yeah. Steven asking about who scores the first 3 tonight. You must have missed the first 14 minutes of the show because it is Derek White.
Apparently he's the only one on the court.
He is the only player on the court tonight. So he will be scoring the first basket, the first 3. He will be going over 2.5 points in the first quarter.
It's so bad for Derek White when he comes in under, when he scores 5 points. The Rats.
Don't put that out there. Don't put that out there.
Pritchard's line is at 4.5 in some books, and I saw someone tweet out, I think it was Alex Caruso, not the basketball player, the gambling expert, that out of 49 home games that Boston's played, he's hit 84% of the games, over 4.5. So that's interesting. But I didn't see it on Hard Rock, so I didn't see a line.
Can you put OddsJam whatever screen you're sharing right now, or those two different?
Yeah,
are you on your phone?
I was here.
Peyton Pritchard's the kind of guy that our team would eat up player prop wise, but we didn't really touch him.
Yeah, I adjusted him down a little bit because I'm not sure who's going to be playing, and I think that as long as they don't get into foul trouble, White and Holiday are going to be dominating the minutes. But right. Yeah, he is 41-8 at home this year with an 11.2 per game average at home. But again, Boston plays a lot of blowouts at home this season. I mean, they had a double-digit point differential for the year on all games. So he might have gotten a lot of minutes that you don't expect him to get if Dallas is not blown out. If you think Boston's going to blow him out, then yeah, Pritchard over 4.5 is a lock.
I feel like if there is a Boston blowout, the most likely scenario is going to be game 1, right? Like there's no way.
That's been their track record, right?
Well, we know they don't. Yeah, the game 2 Boston.
It's not going to be game 2. If there's a time to take Boston against the spread, I feel like it's tonight.
Yeah.
And if you want to take some of these role players like Peyton Pritchard, this is the chance they're playing heavier minutes in the fourth quarter compared to game 2.
I think there's a lot of zigzag theory too in betting. So if Boston were to if this was a close game or if Boston lost, then tomorrow, then the line's going to be it's going to be like 7.5 to Boston.
Yeah.
8.5. Ironically. So that's where our model sometimes gets a little thrown. So if Boston dominates tonight, even though just one game, it will have an impact where in the model, they'll probably be even, we have them as like 7.5 point favorites. We'll probably have them as like an 8.2 point favorites if they dominate tonight. Whereas the line will go from Boston minus 6.5 probably down to like minus 5.5 because everyone will assume that the zigzag that Dallas will bounce back. Mm-hmm. So there's that qualitative subjective factor that the model doesn't necessarily factor for.
Yeah.
So this doesn't make sense looking at player triple double. Topeko has all like the role players. They're all at 10,000. So Pritchard's at 10 plus 10,000. And so is Jaylen Brown, Derek White, now Horford. That just doesn't make sense.
That book also sounds fake. That's not real.
It's like lazy line setting, I guess, because none of them are going to get triple doubles.
Yeah, who's gonna make?
Yeah. Let's take a look at. I'm losing my train of thought. Let's take a look. Well, here's a question, maybe statement, but we'll talk about it. Boston first half team total over 57. Do we have value on the over? We have value on the over.
We do have value. The line's been steaming up. Like the whole game total went from 213.5 and it opened to 215.5. The latest consensus. I don't know if it's moved up even more. I could check real quick.
What a fascinating
it's gone
Twitter
up to like
profile
216.5 in some spots. So yeah, that line keeps coming up. So we have it closer to 219.5. So we probably would have over, and we have slight overvalue for both sides. So yeah, I'm sure 157. Let me use my computer like mine to calculate that as 114 total. So I would,
okay, beast.
I would go with it. Nice. Tends to be more scoring, I think, in the barring early on, things tighten up if it's close and late.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to FanDuel here, Jake. I wanted to take a look at. See what's more value. Player first 3 might be. I think you can do that. Or should I go method of basket First basket, Derek White.
Exact basket. Let's see. I know
For-
like a lot of books have exact.
Like method of first
Oh.
basket.
Yeah.
I know. I think FanDuel has it.
I know DK definitely has it. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure I saw it on Hard Rock too.
Uh, While you look for that, let's get some more questions going in the chat. Let's
here.
talk about. Oh, you got it. Here we go.
After the first basket, yeah.
Daniel Gafford dunk immediately.
Daniel Gafford 3-pointer plus 25.
Derek White,
Derek
3-point
White.
table, 21-1. I mean, let's be honest. If it's going to be Derek White first basket, it's going to be a 3, right?
What's Derek Jones Jr. first 3?
First 3, Derek Jones Jr. plus 48-1.
I like that because we have value of Monday on over his points and rebounds.
Yeah.
Still at minus 105.
Let's
and
refresh.
He's shooting close to 40% from 3.
Yeah. Let's refresh those.
Someone
too.
I think someone fed Mackenzie some Derek White Kool-Aid. And
I think it
can't
was.
Get off of it.
I think it's me.
I think it was Steven.
Yeah. But she ran and she like chugged.
I took it and ran.
Yeah, I think there was some wine mixed in that Kool-Aid.
You guys know I get hyper
intoxicated.
Yeah.
I get hyper fixated on certain players or certain ideas, and
but it makes
they
so much
usually
sense.
go well. I'm just saying.
No,
Sometimes
Jair Brown.
That feminine
First
gut
interception.
Yes, exactly.
33-1.
Yes. All right. Real quick, before we get out of here, I'm not seeing too many other questions. Let's review some of these props first. We'll talk about Derek Jones Jr. I got this one memorized in my head, so I'll rip off the Derek Jones Jr. prop here, over 11.5 points and rebounds. I think it's still around the same price. I think around minus 110, minus 115 now, but you take away that first game of the postseason, he's averaging over 14 points and rebounds through the playoffs. And this is a minutes game for him when he's around 26 to 33 minutes. He's 23-7 to this over. If you go 33 plus minutes, that record gets even stronger. And we do think he's going to play a ton of minutes because they will need his strength and athleticism against guys like Tatum and Brown, 3-and-D type of role here. Do I think he's going to be that successful in it? Maybe not, but I do think he will be on the court, and then the rebounds and the points can follow. Potentially first basket 3.2. I'll be a little pissed if that works out for you. But we also like I'll let you
I didn't do anything to you.
Let's hit the Derek White PRA as well. And this will play into basically everything else I've been preaching for the past week.
Is it? Yeah, we like his MVP value too. Like 35-1.
Yes, we are also on Derek White MVP.
I mean, it's like we were talking about this, that he's obviously a great defensive player. I think that he'll be more on Kyrie than Luka because Drew Holiday's a little stronger and just physically larger for the Luka matchup potentially. And I think Kyrie has a bigger chance of having off games than Luka, and he doesn't have to shut Kyrie down for every game of the series. It has to be like 2 or 3 notable moments.
Right. The
Andre Iguodala versus LeBron, where he quote unquote held LeBron to 35 a game, but it was just notable moments where he stepped up defensively, where the narrative builds that Derek White shut him down for a couple games that Boston wins, and then Derek White has his shot going that he has all playoffs except for 3 games versus Cleveland, but for this Miami series and then the end of the Cleveland, the Indiana series, has been shooting lights out. So if he gets that 18 to 20 points per game and gets credited for shutting down Kyrie in 2 big wins, that seems like an MVP story. Whereas versus Jaylen Brown and then versus Tatum's got to average like 40, 10, and 10 to exceed expectations.
Yeah.
But yeah, for this PRA, I got it at 22.5 and minus 122, but it's 23.5 on plus 100 as the best price right now. I think that's still fine. Although, it seems like he's due for 23 at this point.
Yeah. I mean, if he's putting on an MVP campaign, we're going to need this. Some questions here quick. We're talking about Kleber. I think we mentioned him. His point. See, this is giving, what's his face? What's the running back I bet on the Super Bowl?
Eli Mitchell.
Over what, like 3.5 rushing yards. But look, Kleber over 2.5 points and over 1.5 rebounds. Are basically asking him to make one of the 7 threes.
I just don't know how much
that he's going to launch up.
Play.
Yeah, this is looking like a monitor game 2 attack.
Yeah, because
that's when we'll look.
His injury was his shoulder, right?
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it was on the screen, right?
Greatest shoulder.
So I mean, so that doesn't sound great for shooting.
Mhm.
Even if it wasn't his same shoulder,
Yeah.
it's not like it's pretty connected,
Yeah.
And then on top of that, again, I don't know if he's a good defensive matchup against those wings for the forwards for Boston.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and Steven potentially will go live tonight, and maybe if the lines are early and we get an idea of his type of minutes in the game, we'll be able to make a decision. But there's a few players, including him, that we're kind of staying off of game one, and then we'll be ready to look at for game two. One more play that we were talking about earlier. We talked about Monday, PJ Washington over 1.5 assists. There were some pretty strong numbers backing this one as well, right?
Yeah. Again, the fading methodology. Maybe I'd be worried about it, but it's plus money on a line that's under his average. It was not as good. It was a plus 135. Now that's plus 125 is the best. But again, and I like bets where a guy averages more than this and you're getting significant plus money. He has the same. I like the fact that he shoots much worse, takes fewer field goals on the road, but he averages the same number of assists. So I'm hoping that he loses confidence early and then he just gets a couple assists to make up for a missing three.
We hope he makes 1-3 to go over 2.5 points in the first quarter. And then we'd like him to chill out from there.
Yeah.
And also just because he screwed us over so much this postseason, I'd like to see him choke respectfully. Okay.
The guy I'm interested in today is the Tim Hardaway for Dallas to see if he actually gets on the court, because the advantage we have for Boston this series is they have 8 guys who can be high volume 3-point shooters. And so even if even half of them are off, they could have 4 other guys who can get hot. Whereas Dallas has 4 players who are high volume makes, but one of them is Hardaway, who's barely seeing any time. So I'm wondering if that will change against Boston. For the last 2 years, Hardaway's had a solid average versus Boston. So I'm curious to see if he has a role.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a few players on watch, and then we'll certainly be quick to Twitter if we see player prop lines come out early. Let's take a quick look at a recap screen. These are the 3 props, the value we got them at on Monday. And then here are 3 plays that technically the model likes, but proceed with caution. If you want to trust the model, you can. But if you are looking at the record of our assists and 3-point plays, you might think otherwise. So pick your battle. We support either way. This is our way of hedging happiness, but still giving the people some of the action we have. Any Chicago Sky game, guys, this is my bad. I gotta get back on the WNBA train. I've kind of been off it since Memorial Day weekend, getting ready for the finals, but I'll be back in the W. You guys can hold me accountable, mark my words. I'll be giving out some W picks for sure after today. I'm in on the W. It's time. Now that it was like first 2 weeks are ugly. Now I kind of have some data, have some vibes of the teams. Now I can start to make some better plays. So no show tomorrow. Look out for Twitter if me and Steven either A, just give out some early player props for game 2, or B, we might just say screw it and go live on Twitter. So keep updated with that. Any questions you guys have, as always, feel free to reach out to the 3 of us and Derek too with all the injury updates as well. So good luck with your bets tonight, and go Derek White.